And so it has begun. Or maybe not. I don't know. The Apple Vision Pro is out. You may have seen it. And people are seen walking around wearing these goggles. I gotta tell you, I think a lot of it's fake, but let me slow down here for a minute. Apple Vision Pro is an augmented reality headset you can buy. It's $4,000. You put it on, everything looks normal, but now your iPhone experience is floating in front of your face. They got a video on their website where they basically break it down. And the guy wearing these goggles you can see on screen, he can actually see through the lenses. So he can see what's in front of him. There's no, I don't want to say there's no obstruction, but there's an obstruction, but it's transparent. Now, when you're using the app, and in the video they explain this, when you look at pictures and things like this, the lenses get darker. So it's harder to see everything outside. And you can see your iPhone is floating and you can move things around. There have been people who have used their Tesla app on the Apple Vision Pro wearing them. And they've, you swipe or whatever. They're walking around. They're doing this with their fingers. They look insane. And then a guy pulls up the Tesla app, opens it, and it works on his car. Doesn't need his phone anymore. But I got to tell you, the people who are walking around wearing these things, I don't see this as being a real thing. This story is Tesla owner is pulled over by cops for driving down highway wearing Apple Vision computer glasses. You see, Apple, I remember 10 years ago, it was longer than 10 years ago, the Google Glass thing. Now, look, do you guys remember Google Glass? I actually have 2 or 3 pairs lying around somewhere in storage. And I don't know if they still work. But it was this headset you could put on with a small cell phone on the right side that had a little crystal display of some sort, like this weird little cube that would rest right above your right eye. And when you moved, it moved with you. So the only way to actually look at it was to look up and to the right. Voice activated, actually was really cool and much better than whatever this psychotic garbage is. That being said, it didn't catch on because the use case was kind of limited and we already have cell phones anyway. One of the coolest things about Google Glass was that you could say, okay, Google, take a picture. I don't know, someone's device probably activated or something. But, and it would take a picture. I was in Turkey, actually, 2013, and I had it. And I was able to live stream from Glass walking around, and it was very impractical, but cool, nonetheless. You'd think in 10 years, technology would have improved enough where they could make something functional that was slim, sleek, and able to have a good cell connection. Instead, they make these abominations. Sorry, dude, I don't know what the use case for Apple Vision Pro is. I really don't. And maybe it catches on for some reason, and everybody walks around wearing these things. Fine, I guess. I don't see it. Google Glass had a really great feature where you could say, okay, Google, translate. And then someone could talk to you, and it would show you and read what they said. So I'm in Turkey. It was actually really cool. I went to, no. I was in Brazil, I think. I was in Brazil. And I didn't know how to say receipt. I think what is it, Hasibo? It's been too long. I don't remember. But in Turkey as well, I needed a receipt because whenever you're traveling on the company's done, you got to get your receipts. And so I got Google Glass. Everybody's looking around like, I don't know what this guy's doing. He's a weirdo. And I went in and the guy was, I was trying to buy a mask because of the riots. I wanted a face mask because of the tear gas. And so I just, I was like, face mask. And he said something and I said, okay, Google Translate. And then it's like, a voice tells me what he is saying. Cool. You can do that with your phone. So you didn't really need Google Glass for it. Google Glass was basically like, can I wear a cell phone on my face 24/7? Well, you don't need to. You can put it in your pocket and it can do everything else. And so it had a touchpad on the side and it is whatever. Here's the latest gadget. The Apple Vision Pro. There's videos of people walking around wearing it. They're walking through the streets as they go like this. And it's just like, dude, look. Everybody called people wearing Google Glass holes. And the issue with Google Glass was everybody wanted it, but nobody could get it. So when it first came out, the demand was massive. But they were like, only our explorers can actually get it. I tweeted at them saying I want to use it for breaking and live news coverage and et cetera, et cetera. And they said, yes, we agree. Invited me to their Google HQ, said it's $1,500. I was like, yikes. I bought it and I used it and it broke several times. There was so the way you'd view the lens, there was a little sheet of Mylar tape and it would fall off. And when it did, the projector couldn't reflect back onto the screen. So the way it worked was a projector hit it, reflected onto an angled screen, and then it appeared in front of you. And without it, you saw nothing. I mean, you saw like it faded out and you could barely see it or whatever. You could still hear it, I guess. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know that this video is real. Take a look at this. You got a guy driving a car wearing Apple Vision Pro, and I don't think there's any like functional audio or anything. Yeah, it's just him driving. Okay, all right. He's wearing this, driving his car. At one point, his hands are not on the wheel. Oh, my friends, many of you are Tesla owners. I'm a Tesla owner. This is like, you're not supposed to do this. Some people do it. I know there's a bunch of you out there who bought those clips that you can put on your steering wheel so that you don't got to hold on to it. When you're driving your Tesla in full self-driving, every so often it'll say like apply force to the steering wheel. And if you don't, it disables self-driving. Not to mention, there are many instances where it disables self-driving. There's many instances where self-driving fails. I'm driving down the road and it asks you every time, it's like self-driving disengaged, what happened? And then you can, if you want, press the button and then say what happened. I do it all the time. There's this one highway by us in West Virginia. And right before the exit for the off-ramp, it's onto 340. There's like a state use only turnaround. And Tesla always tries to go into the state use lane for this like administrative turnaround area. It's like only for cops. And you have to force it back. You've got to disengage, pressing the brake, or just grab the wheel and turn it. And then every time it's like, why did you do that? And I'm like, dude, that is not the highway exit. That is the administrative turnaround. You have to drive further. But I'll say the car keeps trying to go off every time we do. Anyway, I digress. You got to keep your hands on the wheel. There are people who buy these things and they strap them to the steering wheel to apply weight. So the steering wheel thinks there's a hand on it. It's just so stupid, dude. I've been driving on the road and it slams the brakes on or it jerks to the left and nearly hits cars. I like self-driving. It's 90% fine, but you got those moments. That's why they say, keep your hands on the wheel. This dude is, it's kind of cringe. Look at this. He's like tapping the air. He's pinching and zooming. Dude, it's so, I'm sorry, man. I just think it's cringe. I just do. You look so weird. What are you doing? And here you go. The cops. And he's still wearing the goggles. Apparently he got arrested. And he should have been too, if he did. The story, let's zoom up. Pulled over by cops. I've heard he got arrested. I don't know if he actually did. He might have just got pulled over. Apple explicitly says not to operate machinery or do anything dangerous, while wearing these. They call it $3,500, bro. Go to their website. It's like $4,000. Okay. I mean, like after taxes and everything, sure, $3,500. On Friday, the same day the headset was released, it's not a VR, it's AR, augmented reality. A user named Dante posted a video on X, formerly known as Twitter, of him driving a Tesla while wearing the tech. The video shows him wearing gray pants and black long sleeve shirt as he drives. At one point, both of his hands are off the wheel. I don't know how you fake something like this, so I guess. It's unknown where he was driving to or what police department pulled him over. He says he lives in Palo Alto. The safety information page for Apple Vision Pro on the company website explicitly prohibits using the headset while driving. Never use Apple Vision Pro while operating a moving vehicle, bicycle, heavy machinery, or in any other situation requiring attention to safety. All right. What's the point of this? Why do you have it? Look at this guy sitting. I got to be honest. I will buy one. I will buy one because whenever there's some new technology, we want to know it. We want to review it. We want to find its use cases. So that's why I for a while, I had like 4 or 5 cell phones every year because we were doing app development too. But considering this is a new product, we are seeing it. Yeah, we'll probably order one. The funny thing about it is you can't actually buy it. I mean, you can, but you have to have an iPhone already. And you have to scan the size of your face and head before you can buy it. So, sure. Okay, whatever. Which means, I was like, I should probably order one of these and then have people test it out and see what its use cases are so we can actually like talk about it, report on it. And when issues come up, we know what we're talking about. I can't buy it. I got to get an iPhone. I have an iPhone. It's not here. So I have to go get it. And then I can scan my face and buy this silly thing. Here's where it gets fun. The Simpsons predicted Apple's Vision Pro 8 years ago and all hell broke loose in Springfield. You know what? To be fair, They did, kind of. This is not a hard thing to predict. The funny thing is they're wearing goggles with wires that go to their glove. No, the Apple Vision Pro doesn't require any kind of gloves. The cameras can just see your hands and it knows what your hands are doing. And you like pinch and pull and you're doing these things and you look like a lunatic. It's cool tech. It is. It follows your eyes. So when you're looking at the screen, you look at whatever you want and pinch. I think it's very counterintuitive and it's going to be weird. You look at the app you want, pinch your fingers together and it selects it. But everyone's going to want to grab it. Because like when I'm looking at my screen, I guess I look at something and I'll tap my finger to it. But I don't know. It just seems weird. But I do think it'd be fun to try out. Now, as for The Simpsons, yeah, I mean, 8 years ago, they didn't predict this. But it's easy because everyone predicted it. VR goggles had come out. Everybody was excited. And they were like, everyone was making the joke. People are going to be using these things in stupid ways. To be fair, it's a little on the nose with people walking around outside wearing them. You know, here's Skinner's mom falling into a sewer. And yeah, they absolutely did predict it. So once again, Simpsons get it right. Okay, gets it right. Here's my question for all of you. Here's a picture of a guy in a subway wearing these things. Here's a guy walking down the street wearing these things. You know what? I want to say to these people, you live your life. Good for you. They don't care what anyone else thinks of them. It's walking around. You've got the wire going to it. I imagine that's what, plugged into their phone? Is that what it's doing? Whatever, man. Maybe not. A battery? No idea. They clearly don't care what anyone else thinks of them as they're walking around. But I have a question for anybody who does have these. What's the use case? What is the use case for why this thing exists? Honest question. Is it so that like you're sitting in your living room, but you're at remote work or something? I don't get it. We got some Oculus, the new ones. They don't cover your entire field of vision, and they're AR. They're trying to do something similar. I guess the VR thing wasn't good enough. You know, the idea that you'd put on a headset and go into a, dinosaur world or whatever. What is this? I think this function is both, to be honest. XR, dinosaur viewed in Apple Vision Pro headset. Sure, whatever. It's cool tech. Transparent screen. I love it. I think it's really cool. You've seen these TVs they have now with their glass, and then when it turns on, that's cool stuff. I like it. But what's the use case? 600 new apps designed for it. You're sitting at home wearing goggles? I suppose it's easier than holding your phone up the whole time if you're like FaceTiming with someone. So as like a phone, I could imagine this making sense, having it set on your coffee table, and then you see your phone's ringing, and you put it on, and you're like, yo, what up? And you don't got to hold the phone. But is it really that big a deal to hold your phone to your head? I guess if you want to FaceTime or something, but there's like, you can't, because like the other person still has to hold the camera up to their face. So what is the point of this thing? I don't know. Perhaps I am just some old fogey. Can't quite understand the true power that is Apple Vision Pro. I'm sure there'll be some fun video games or something, but I gotta say, I think this one fizzles out. Nobody uses it, and everyone's kind of like, well, that was a weird thing. I don't see this becoming ubiquitous at all because you don't need to have your apps open all the time. There was a funny video, though. I think it's hilarious. A guy was playing blackjack while wearing them. I don't think it was at a casino because you're not allowed to use real-time communications devices at casino tables. I think it might have been like a private thing. But consider this, a potential use case that we don't yet see. Blackjack is a great example. And I know everyone's like, Tim's telling stories about gambling. Hey, a guy was at a casino doing this. It's part of the story. Imagine at a blackjack table, and you're wearing these as you're playing, and it's got real time. It's counting cards in real time. Cards comes out, and it tells you your win percentages based on the cards that have already come out. Yo, that'd be wild. You'll know when to bet, when not to bet, and you don't even got to think. The computer does it for you. I think it's better if you want to count cards, you'll learn how to do it. And you can play double-deck blackjack at casinos where there's still some capability. Most casinos have continuous shuffle or like 6 decks, and it's like, whatever. But the guy's playing. It's probably telling him exactly how to play perfectly. With these goggles, you never play poker again. Like, it's going to be telling you what to do in real time, and you'll have a heads-up display. Phones can do this, but having your hands free while you're looking through the screen, that I get could be very interesting. Google made the case for Google Glass. If you're like in a workshop and you're working on things, it can give you real-time data, but the screen was too small. With this, let's say you're working on this can't like there are use cases. I'm not saying there's none, but for the average person, I don't know. Let's say you're working in a wood shop or construction, and you're looking through these Vision Pro things. Measures everything instantly in real time. Instead of pulling out a measuring tape or a laser or anything, even temperature, it will show you active. I mean, it's wild. It can be useful in many professional circumstances related to construction. I don't know what else, but just because I don't know doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I certainly think like if I was going to be measuring a room or I want to know the distance between two objects and I had these things, it could be very useful because it'll draw a line between the objects and then just like show you the angles. Pretty cool stuff. In the meantime, I suppose it's fair to say, I look forward to seeing what use cases they can come up with. Because I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's all useless. It's interesting. We'll see. I went to Best Buy recently, and they had the new Oculus, and I put it on, and it was augmented reality, not virtual reality. And this is the big push I guess they want to do. The idea is the original virtual reality goggles you'd put on, and it's darkness. You're looking at a phone, basically. Original super old VR, you actually slide your phone to a box with two lenses, and then it would make a VR screen using your phone. That was olden days. Google would give out these little boxes you could open and slide your phone in. It was silly. And then they actually sold the cases you could stick your phone in to do VR. But now with then you got modern VR, which we have downstairs. You put them on, and then you're like looking around, and you're in like, Space Pirates is one of the most popular games that defaults to the Oculus, and you're fighting robots or something. Now the big push is going to be you see the world straight through a clear lens, and when you turn the game on, everything turns into it. So this should be interesting. In the meantime, a bunch of morons are driving cars, wearing them. They're going to crash. And I can certainly see, look, I was looking into the history of the automobile and just thinking about how crazy it must have been when the first people started driving cars. There were rules already for horses and carriages and what side of the road you're on and all that stuff. Turn signals, like in some form existed because you're signaling and you put your hand up or whatever. But then someday someone's driving a car and eventually they're like, these are going too fast. They're going way faster than the horses ever did. We got to put a limit on how fast you can go and start implementing these laws. You had a bunch of people do a bunch of weird things back in the day with when there's no laws pertaining to things. I mean, back in the day, people were building planes when they did, and they would just fly them. Now it's kind of like, we got rules. We got rules because we don't want people flying all over the place and doing weird, crazy things. In the meantime, welcome to the Wild West of people wearing crazy goggles and doing stupid things with them. I think we'll be just fine. I'd love to see, it'd be hilarious if this thing became ubiquitous, but whatever. I'll leave it there. Welcome to your AI future nightmare. Next segment is coming up at 6 p.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.